chance to make it 28-3. Arthur Blank loving it. Up by 25. Toss to White. He's in! What a comeback!
All right, welcome to another episode of the 28-3 podcast. Today we're going to talk about cut day.
That's right. We are recording this shortly before the final preseason game, and with the rules that changed, like a couple of years ago, they go all the way from 90 down to 53, and so the Saints have some decisions to make. I don't know, for whatever reason, maybe because they're doing training camp in California, I don't feel if it's as plugged in, or it's as though, to me, there's not as many guys beyond the 53 that are jumping off the page to me. I feel like last year the cuts were really hard to kind of figure out who are they going to actually part ways with versus this year. I mean, I could be wrong on that. What do you think, Max?
Yeah, I think it's pretty straightforward this year. I don't think there's going to be too many surprises. The one surprise I think would be at the running back position, where we could see Kendre Miller cut. We really haven't seen him at all this preseason.
That would be a bold move if they did that.
I still say there's no way they do that.
I think the
worst
move
case they put him on
IR. Yeah, short-term IR. So now there's 2 short-term IR slots. So remember before you used to have to actually put the player on the 53-man roster, and then you would have to put him on IR. Seems like now they can go ahead and just put the player directly on short-term IR to where they can return. So under that premise, I could see Miller going to IR, Jordan Mims makes the team, and then they reevaluate it in a few weeks.
Yeah, could see that.
Mims 100% guarantee for you.
I don't know. I mean, why don't we go position by position?
Yeah.
Quarterback, I think.
And I don't know if for purposes of this, if we're going to get to actually 53, but maybe as we go position by position, we can make predictions on who we think they're going to keep, who we think they're going to cut.
Yeah, I think we can get to the 53. Let's start off with quarterback. I think it's pretty simple at that position. I think all 3 are going to make the team. There's no way you can cut Hayner or Rattler, and there's no way they would make it through waivers to get back to the practice squad. So
yeah, I don't think you can trust that. And if they do cut, I mean, they're definitely. I don't see a world in which they ever cut Rattler. If they part ways with Hayner, that would be a decision that they're making to say, you know what, we're going to release him and we're okay with whatever may happen here because we have Rattler. That's the only scenario in which I see them cutting.
If they did
Hayner.
cut one, it'd probably be Hayner, right?
Yeah.
I think we'd all agree on that. I don't see it happening either. I think they want to see more out of both of them. You never know what we look like next year, what we do with Carr. Carr could potentially be a trade piece next year, even with the short-term contract and how low it will be after even more contracts come through next year.
Remember, though, he has a no-trade clause.
Yeah, but if we're clearly starting over,
yeah,
there's a chance that could even be in the cards. If I'm saying if we end up with like a 5-12 or some kind of record like that, we let him go. We wouldn't get anything for him, but we could get him off the books probably for a team that's drafting a quarterback that wants to give him a year and thinks they're on the upswing with a young roster. But that's why I think they definitely keep both. They're not going to risk losing one of them by waiting for the practice squad.
Yeah, there's too much promise with both of them, and obviously Rattler's potential is off the charts, and Hayner's shown good improvement over last year. He really didn't do much in the preseason last year, but he's shown enough this year in training camp and in the preseason where I think you have to keep him around. So I think it's pretty cut and dry.
Yep.
Running back.
Okay, so running back, I have them keeping Kendre.
Outright.
Active.
Yeah.
Active. Okay.
Yeah.
So who did they cut?
I think they actually cut Mims.
I think Mims is gone. That's why I asked you that question.
But I do think they keep 4, and James Robinson's the other one they keep.
Oh, wow.
It, to me, seems like a Saints-type move where you want – you're going to have Kamara and Jamal, and then you want Kendre to be a healthy Kendre Miller, as we talked about. You want him to be the guy you drafted. But if he's not, then – or if Jamal turns into being either ineffective or he himself gets hurt, then James Robinson is closer to that.
James Robinson's a better player than Mims.
And he might even be a better player than Jamal. You know, if you give him enough run.
He has 1,000-yard seasons in his past.
Yeah,
one.
What did he have the second year before they
like
let him?
700, I think, and then he went down to like 300, and then
Yeah, he was a backup when he left, though.
So my prediction on that is that they keep Kendra outright, or they at least they don't cut him either way. Maybe they do the injury thing with him, but like either a pup or
pick a lane. And what do you?
Okay, four running backs: Kamara, Jamal, Kendra, James Robinson.
Okay.
I'm going to say 3, and I think they keep Kendra too.
So you're saying Kamara, Kendra, and
Jamal.
Okay.
Nick, this is one of those episodes we need your scribe skills.
What scribe? What do we need
like to write down the?
Oh, what we're saying?
Yeah.
I don't think we're going to be too many positions. We'll even be
Too
debating.
persnickety.
We'll be able to remember this.
Yeah.
I think I'm also betting that he's close because it's clear DA thinks he should be out there already. Just by the way, in my opinion, why he's talking the way he is in the media is that dude needs to toughen up, basically. And I feel like at some point his career's on the line here. I just like to hope he just gets out there and starts playing. I think they keep him. I think he's probably on a short leash. If this drags, he's gone. He'll either be IR'd or they'll cut him. But I think you saw too much in the short stint last year. I think the injury is not major, that they think he should be back, but he's, I assume, asking for more time. This is all reading between the lines. But so I'm just going with the 3. I think they cut James Robinson. I think they try and put Mims on the practice squad.
I think we keep 3 as well. I think it's Kamara, Williams, Mims, and I do think Kendra starts off on the short-term IR.
Sure.
Look, he did show a lot in that one game last year against the Falcons. He looked fantastic. He looked like the kind of guy we need, the running back with juice. That being said, man, third-round running backs are kind of a dime a dozen these days. That's where they all end up going nowadays, is late second, mainly the third. So I can see a scenario where next season there's a whole new running back room. Where Kamara's not here, Jamal's not here, Kendra's not here, Mims isn't here.
Not a single one is carryover.
I'm telling you right now, I would put money on the Saints drafting a running back in the second or third round next year, and then probably picking up a few either in free agency or undrafted free agents. I think this whole room turns over for 2025.
It needs to.
It could.
It needs to. It does. But I'm going to go with Kendra short-term IR, and then Mims on the team. And then when, a couple weeks, maybe they bring Kendra back and Mims gets cut at that point.
Yeah.
But I do think you'll see them pick up somebody, whether it's practice squad or maybe it is somebody that sneaks onto the roster after final cuts. I think they pick up somebody, some younger player who has some juice to him.
Yeah,
So
I can see that too.
We'll slide over to fullback. I think this one's pretty straightforward. For our purposes, I'm going to call Taysom Hill a fullback instead of a tight end. So
Okay.
I'll say Taysom Hill and Adam Prentice, pretty much write that in a Sharpie.
Yeah, I think they keep. We said it last episode. I think they keep Prentice, and they're obviously keeping Taysom. So I think fullback is probably, I guess, the roster position you roster him at, or tight end.
I mean, it doesn't really matter, but
Either
just for
way,
our purposes, we'll call him a fullback.
Offensive, he's essentially like your real life football flex.
Yeah,
For
exactly.
fantasy purposes.
Yep.
And then let's move on to tight end. Juwan, I've got
This one to me is easy.
Juwan Foster, Holker. I think they like Holker. They got to keep him. Other than that, I don't think anybody's really worth keeping. And even Holker, I mean, he seems like a guy that would be picked up off waivers, but it's not like he flashed a whole lot in either preseason game because of injury or in camp.
The one game he had a few. What did he have? 4 catches.
He had a couple
in that
catches,
one game? Late, not in the not with the starters, but
Yeah.
I believe they will keep him too.
Yeah. There's nobody else on the roster that's done anything.
Yeah, I mean they seem to like Jacobson, but he just
But he's running clearly
screams,
fourth behind.
practice squad type guy, just because of the guy's height. But
I think
there's no one else
those three are safe.
there's no one else to keep. So
Yeah, that one's pretty straightforward.
yeah, and all right, so now we move into offensive line where
Well, let's do wide receivers. Try to keep the skill position guys together.
okay, sure.
I think this one's going to be. I'm interested to hear y'all's takes first on this. So
Yeah, this is a tough one. I looked at it, and I don't even know. I just looked at who they should keep cut. I didn't really, decide. Are they going to keep 5 wideouts, 6? 6 would seem like a lot because I'm predicting.
Well,
they
you kept
keep
4 running backs.
Four
so you
running
don't get
backs,
6.
so
Yeah,
I
so
think
you
I get
get
5. But the obvious ones, Shahid Olave, there's your 2. Perry, you got to slot him in at 3. Cedric Wilson, I've got.
I don't think Perry's the 3.
Well,
I think Cedric Wilson's a clear 3 right now.
Perry and Wilson are 3/4.
You can say either way. I think they're both on the team. I know.
Yeah,
I know
and
we're worried about AT, but I gotta think he's on the team.
And then if they're keeping 5, then
Keep track of your number per position. Maybe put notes on
Okay.
this because I don't want you having 54 players here. I've got mine counted out. So
okay. I think they keep Wilson, AT Perry, and I think they keep up Memes. And so if I'm going with 5, that leaves Tipton as the odd man out. And with the hopes that they get to the practice, that he gets to practice squad. So those would be my 5 wideouts. Bub Means being the 5th, and then Wilson, Perry being a 3/4 for me.
I'm actually shocked. I have the exact same thing. I figured we would have
We usually
off
differ on this.
somewhere. Yeah.
I really wanted to keep EQ St. Brown just for the name, but they got to go. They got to. Wilson brings a lot of the same things that St. Brown brings.
I just think that, obviously Olave's locked in as your 1. Shahid's your 2. I think Wilson and Perry are probably interchangeable. Right now, you got to say Wilson just because of his experience.
Wilson's the only one over 25 in that group, right? Is she 26 this year or 25?
I think he's 26, but
Young.
he's right around that range.
Yeah.
That's a young room.
Yeah, it is, and that's why I see him more as a 3rd because he is a veteran. He's played 5 years at this point. AT Perry, you got to keep him. It's too. You have to keep him. See what he can do. And then Bub Means, for me, keep the young guy with potential over some of these older guys like St. Brown. What's the point in St. Brown? You can pick him up at any point.
Yeah, he's.
You can cut him. No one's picking him up on waivers. Bub Means is an actual mid-round draft pick. Like somebody probably would scoop him up if you released him. So
There's
I think
enough
it makes sense
potential.
to keep him.
Yeah.
Tipton, I don't think he really. We never saw him in the preseason. Everything is all training camp, practice, hype. So I think he easily passes through waivers, and you see him make it to the practice squad. Well, maybe he's one of those short-term IR guys. That we talked about the situation with Kendra, because you have 2 of those slots, so you can utilize it on 2 players. I think Kendra's one of them, possibly
That's true.
Tipton
That's
as
true.
the other one. But either way,
It's hard to. You kind of have. If you want to make a truly accurate prediction, you kind of have to work in those IR moves into your predictions. But it's really hard to go away from just saying, all right, here's the straight 53.
Yeah.
Because I think we kind of tried to do that last year. I think another one of my accurate predictions with Marcus May was some kind of injury designation for him. But
yeah, I
I'll
think
leave him
Tipton.
in the past.
I actually in my notes I put Tipton as a short-term IR guy. But
Okay.
the more I think about it, he probably
get down
you
on the
go ahead
squad.
and waive him. He makes it to the practice
he'll make
squad
it
with no
through.
problem.
Yeah.
The other guys on that list, I don't think it's anybody. None of those other guys really. Stanley Morgan, he's a special teamer, but he's not going to contribute anything really. Kevin Austin, he's done some good things, I guess, but just not enough to supplant Means. It seems like Means came on last week during the game, and I would anticipate him getting a lot of play tomorrow in the game.
Yeah, I agree.
Offensive line.
Yeah, this is, I would say tough, but it's like besides your starters, it's only tough because everybody else sucks.
Terrible.
What a starter sucked here.
Well, we have some good starters, 2 of them.
Well, we have one, and
McCoy
the
and
second
Ruiz?
one is probably. I'm not calling Ruiz a good starter. He's a solid. He's
starter,
okay.
though.
He's a starter. I mean, he's a starter,
Okay,
but he's not.
I think he's looked good this
He's
offseason.
okay,
This
though.
he's
preseason.
okay. He's okay.
He's not.
He's not Andrews Pete.
You think Pete would be better than Ruiz?
Yes,
Pete is better than Ruiz.
Pete is better than Ruiz.
Wow,
That's not a wild take.
it's a wow for me.
Again, it's not a wild take.
Maybe the wow is based more in where we were with Pete 2-3 years ago.
To be fair,
how far we've come.
you were very low on Pete.
Yeah.
very.
We've
low.
had this
I was.
discussion.
We've had this discussion It's
Before
well
last year,
documented.
yes.
Yeah.
This
Yes.
is
Nick
Before
and I
he's-
are higher on him. than
before
you
he
are.
saved-
hatred for a contract, not a player.
Before
That
he
is what it
came
is.
and saved the day, yes.
That's the point. If contracts weren't made public and you just watched Pete play, we wouldn't have any. We would be like, he's a good starter. He's a good player. The problem is we look at that contract he got, and we're like,
And we all knew it was too much.
right, his agent fleeced Loomis.
But he's a multi-time Pro Bowler. I know Pro Bowl is whatever,
Yeah.
but he's multi-time Pro Bowler. I think he's proven more in the league than Ruiz has. It doesn't mean Ruiz doesn't go, get better again.
Ruiz is still young. That's the other
He
thing.
is.
They're also two totally different types of players. I think Ruiz played guard better than Pete played guard. But Pete, when he came in at tackle,
Well, he made Pro Bowl
actually,
at guard, so that's hard to say.
Yeah, Ruiz hasn't sniffed a Pro Bowl.
We'll see. Let's just hope Ruiz. I mean, much like Pete was very young coming in.
Well, yeah.
Just like Ruiz was, and he got better and better. And after what was his third or fourth year,
Yeah.
became Pro Bowler. That's where Ruiz is sitting in his career. Maybe he makes that little bit of a jump and becomes a quality starter rather than just.
So this is why this discussion gets hard because we're talking about Pete and Ruiz, but the real discussion for purposes of what we're doing here is what about all those dudes below them?
We know Penning makes the team, right? Like it or not, he's making the team.
He's gonna make it.
McCoy, Fuaga,
Right.
Penning, Ruiz. Those four are absolutely on the team.
Yeah.
I think Penning, no matter how bad he is, he still gets
It
another
might be his last year, but he's on the roster this year.
Yeah, I think next year he's firmly on the bubble to get cut. If he
Penning?
doesn't, yeah, Penning. If we don't see something out of him this year.
Yeah.
Now I will say this year he's a lock because no one else has jumped up to take away his position.
Yeah.
So so that's four of them. So we're missing the left guard because we don't know who our starting left guard is at this point.
Well, we don't know who's definitely
they've given-
starting, but I think we know who they have to keep around. I think you have obviously Saldivari, Lucas Patrick. Like
You're saying obviously Saldivari?
I don't think he's going anywhere.
I think Saldivari's cut, or maybe he's one of the short-term IR guys. He hasn't played at all this preseason.
No.
Yeah.
Like, he's not on the team right now, dude. But now, with his injury, I think he absolutely makes sense. I'm going to go ahead and make the adjustment. I'm taking Tipton off of my short-term. I'm putting Saldivari on the short-term IR.
Okay.
I could see that. I don't see him being cut.
I don't think he's going to be cut, but I do think,
You don't think he was being cut? Saldivari?
Saldivari.
Yeah.
he's in danger of it, man.
I know, but it's still year two, another mid-round
Yeah, that's
pick.
what I'm saying.
I don't
Well,
think
being
Look,
year two.
Lucas Patrick can play left guard. He can also play center. They've had him running second team at center.
Right. That's
So
what Lucas
he's-
Patrick's definitely in.
Lucas Patrick is definitely in.
Yeah.
I think Landon Young is going to definitely be in because he's been the backup to Fuaga. He can also play right tackle. And they've tested him out at left guard this week.
Right.
So, to me, Landon Young still has the versatility that they look for.
You have to keep Landon Young.
I think you have to keep
for
Landon Young.
depth, and that's not. And again, like that's where we
you
are.
hope he doesn't play.
That's
but-
where
hope he doesn't
exactly.
play,
That's
but-
where we are with this O line. Where it's not.
Well, who else do you have?
It's not any definition of the quality of player that Landon Young is. It's just that's where we are. We can't get rid of guys like that.
Who else do you have, though? We've established McCoy,
got-
Fuaga, Ruiz, Penning, Lucas Patrick. You're in agreement
Yeah.
on Landon Young?
Udo makes
Yes,
the team.
I've got.
Udo?
I got to see if this number shakes out, but I've got because I might have to edit it. But Fuaga, Saldivari, McCoy, Ruiz, Penning, and then behind them I've got Landon Young. So I've got 5. Landon Young being 6.
Patrick.
Udo.
You
I
said
got
Patrick.
Udo as the 6 because he might actually start over
Oh
Penning.
no, Patrick. Yeah, Patrick is the 6. Then Landon Young 7. I think they got to keep Udo.
Yeah.
That's 8.
That's 8 if you have Saldivari in there.
Right. And
you
I
have
do.
Saldivari, yeah.
So you got one
So
spot
the one that's on the
left-ish?
bubble is Ezram, their 7th round pick.
No, I think Hergel makes it. He's undrafted free agent, makes the team.
Yeah.
Kyle Hergel.
Oh yeah, because I think didn't they say he actually took reps with the ones?
Yeah, he took reps with the ones this week, and he's versatile as well. I think he
So-
can play both guard positions, and I want to say some center as well.
So you think they're taking? Let's see, Patrick Young.
I've got
Udo.
9.
Yeah, I got to go with 9.
It's going to be 9, probably.
Yeah, I've got 9. I've got McCoy, Fuaga, Ruiz, Penning, Patrick, Young, Udo, Hergel, and Lemieux.
Yeah.
So you have Lemieux over Saldivari, assuming Saldivari goes.
I'm going to say Saldivari to the short
just
term
goes to IR.
Yeah,
What happens when he comes back from IR?
probably Lemieux, one of those guys, one of the veterans that no one's going to pick up on waivers. One of those guys gets cut.
Yep. So I can see that go either way. So
Yeah.
I'm good. If I agree. If Saldivari's healthy, I think there's no way he's cut this year. Again, I'd put him
If
on
he's
the
healthy, yeah.
right, chopping block next year for sure. Year 3 for a mid-round pick. That's kind of your window. If
Yeah,
you haven't shown
exactly.
anything by then, that's a wrap. Lemieux makes it. I'm fine with that at the 9th spot if he's on IR. I think the other 8 we agree on.
Yeah. So I guess the toss-up is, well, no, because he
Hergel,
wasn't Hergel either. So Hergel, Lemieux, and I think Hergel's on it. I don't think they cut him.
I
I think
think
Lemieux's cut.
Hergel's
and they keep the rookie,
Hergel.
the
Yeah,
seventh round.
either Hergel or Ezram. Yeah.
Ezra makes it to the practice squad. though,
Ezra's
almost
practice
certainly.
squad.
Yeah, then maybe
I don't see any way he makes the active roster.
So
Yeah.
I don't think he makes active because
Yeah.
they know he'll make the
But
practice
dude, like
squad.
Yeah.
Lemieux had more errant snaps than I've seen in a lot of college games in that preseason game. Like that was not good.
Yeah.
Well, look, if Saldiveri's healthy, then maybe Lemieux gets chopped and he stays on. I think Hergel's on.
I think that's the call. We're talking. Well,
Yeah.
I would agree with that. I think
The
you're
toss-up
just
is
talking
Lemieux.
whether Saldiveri's going to
Correct.
play or not.
Yeah.
and then that's Lemieux. Or it could be someone else. I'm not.
Yeah,
you could
yeah.
go either way on that one. I'm not going to tie it to anybody, but I would say if Saldivar is there, that's your ninth or in the 9.
Yeah.
And the other ones, I think
I feel confident on the 8. It's
Yeah.
just that 9th spot's a little. That one's a little toss-up.
Yeah.
I'd like it to be Saldiveri, because he's athletic and he seems to fit the scheme. So I hope it's him, but let's see. He really hasn't done much. Maybe they just sneak him on the IR.
Yep.
Let's hop over to defense. Defensive end.
I feel like defense is very easy too this year.
Yeah, I think it's pretty straightforward. I mean, for defensive end, I've got Chase Young, Cam Jordan, Granderson. I think Peyton Turner gets this last year.
You got to.
Yeah, you got to. Look, he just had some pressures in the preseason.
And unfortunately for you, Foskey will make the team.
Right. So Foskey hasn't shown anything, but at the same point, second-round pick last year, you kind of have to give him another year and hope that the light comes on for him. So I'm going to go
Do you
with
have
those
any
5.
outlandish pick there? I say the same thing on those. I'm with those 5.
I'm actually making the bold
Oh,
prediction
we
of
got?
Foskey being cut.
cut in place for
I mean, just
another position or a different.
I've got them keeping Jordan, Young. I guess Tano's not counting against the roster.
He's on PUP,
and then
so he's not counting towards
then
the
I've
roster.
got Granderson, Turner. So it's not as much that they're keeping another defensive end. I just think it's more of a so they can keep other guys, like because you got
you-
some tough choices at the linebacker position.
You want a fifth
Did
running
you
back
tally?
instead?
Did you tally up your?
I didn't tally up what I've done so far, but I just know that
Tally it up though before we finish this because I want to make sure you're at 53.
I'm going to make the
So
adjustment.
you're
on-
saying Foskey's gone?
yeah, I think Foskey. I mean
That-
that's my
he's
bold.
he's even with
That's-
both of us then. Because
that's my bold prediction.
He had the extra
Have an
running
extra
back.
running back.
If he says no Foskey, we're both at the same
Okay,
roster
got
count
it.
right now.
Yeah.
because we all had 5 wide receivers.
Now
as
let me
well.
say this: I could see Foskey being a trade candidate. You know what I mean? Like another team who's got an underperforming guy who was picked in like the 2nd or 3rd
If
round.
you're
maybe
another
last
team,
year.
Change
what
of
are
scenery,
you
trade.
giving?
Change of scenery, like that, I could see.
But if you're another team, what are you giving us for?
Again,
another disappointing player.
Another Foskey, another disappointing player. I'm not saying you're getting a
Yeah.
starter for him. What I'm
Like
saying
maybe a
is,
different
Oh, no,
system
no,
helps him. That kind of thing.
I'm
Yeah,
just thinking
exactly.
like player for player trades are so rare in the NFL that I don't see anybody giving us like even
Well, okay, so remember
draft capital.
Remember the scenario that I floated last week when we were talking about Lattimore, and I said we should trade him for just a younger offensive lineman who maybe hasn't lived up to their draft billing. With this, I'm saying Foskey, you swap, maybe a change of scenery does him well. You swap him for another player, probably an offensive lineman who's shown some promise but is
Yeah.
underachieved.
Yeah,
A backup.
A trash for trash trade, basically, where the teams are hoping change the scenery, lights a fire under him, and gets them where they're supposed to be.
yeah, I can see that.
Okay. Defensive tackle. This one to me is a
it's
no-brainer.
a layup.
Brian Brzee, Shepard, Saunders, Christian Boyd. You got anything different, or I know you're on. You
yeah.
got the same thing, yeah.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah,
think
I've got the same thing.
That's
Yeah, that one's
easy
pretty
one.
straightforward.
So that how many is that? That's 1, 2,
That's 4.
3. That's 4. Yeah, I got us cutting Helfin and Vickers. And
Yeah, those guys haven't shown anything.
it's really and Boyd. I mean,
Boyd's going to be a contributor.
I didn't see what his injury update was after the game.
He's fine.
He's okay. All
Yeah.
right, so that's 4. All right, so I think this is the toughest one out of all the position
It
groups.
is well,
Linebacker.
for the way down the roster spots.
Yeah, so linebackers, what you got? We'll kick it over to you.
As of now, and I might need to cut 1 or 2 depending on the math.
You got to make sure the math.
Because I want to cut. I mean, I want to keep all the linebackers, but I got so Demario, Warner, Gay. That's 3. Then DeMarco, Orgy. I got making it. That's 5, and then Neffy's on a injury designation.
He's on the pup, I believe.
On the pup. So I guess maybe I cut more than I thought. I think I don't want them to cut Jalen Ford, but it's going to be hard to keep. I think it's going to be hard to keep 6 linebackers.
I have him keeping 6.
Yeah.
I went with 6.
No, I'm going to go with 6. I'm going to go with 6 and keep Jalen Ford because I personally want to see them keep Jalen Ford. I think he's got a lot of potential, and he's looked pretty good in the limited action that we've seen him.
So
that'd be 6.
My first 5 matched up with yours, but instead of Ford, I'm having him keep Hudson.
Yeah, you've liked the way Hudson's looked.
He started in the league. He's still young. He's fast. To me, Ford hasn't done shit.
Yeah, and Ford could make it to the practice squad.
Absolutely.
To be honest.
He would make it there too.
Yeah. I mean,
That's another
look,
one.
you got to realize these guys that don't do anything at all in the preseason, they're probably going to make it to the practice squad because you're talking about 4th and 5th round picks. You know what I mean? They haven't done anything.
You're making me want to switch my my pick there.
I think the other 5 are pretty
The other 5
guaranteed,
are solid, yeah.
in my opinion. And the 6 would be Neffy if he was healthy.
But he's pup, so
Right.
he's on
I'm just
no
saying
matter
if he was
what.
there,
Yeah.
that would be the 6. So
But
you're fighting
that's-
over something
yeah.
I think doesn't
But
matter
that's the
a whole
thing,
lot, or
when
debating over.
When Neffy comes back off, they're
Hudson
gonna
versus-
want to activate him. So
I
That's what
don't
I mean.
know, man.
they gotta decide.
You don't
But
think they
it
would
also-
keep him over
It's gonna be tight, man. The linebacker's a strength now. It's not
over
like
Hudson
it was.
or Ford? You don't think?
Depends on what Hudson
I think
does.
Ford's practice squad.
At least with
So
Neffy,
OG.
you know that he's been a special teams baller with Rizzy. You know, so like you know when you activate him, like he's gonna contribute on special teams. Other guys that haven't been under Darren Rizzy,
Yeah.
or with us
I
on
don't know.
special
I
teams.
mean, does Hudson play special teams? Well,
Yeah.
He does.
I don't think it's a no-brainer like you're painting it to be. I think it's going to be it.
be
It
tough.
could go 50-50.
So this is your 6, regardless of his situation, is what you're saying.
Well, it's impossible to say that because his injury is it was a pretty bad injury, wasn't it? Wasn't it Achilles?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I,
It'll take a while.
yeah.
Well, he's not going to be back. I mean,
I know they love Orgy's potential. He's fast. Like he's got.
he's looked good too.
Yeah, he's looked good, and Hudson's been a starter.
Yeah. I don't think it matters. We'll never see anyone past the top probably 3.
This is true.
As far as offense goes. We'll see the other guys in special teams for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Linebackers definitely like offensive line. It's a big health position this year. Like if healthy, then you shouldn't see anything different than DeMario and Werner, and then Gay coming in on certain scrambling passing downs, or when you definitely want to bring a blitz.
Good thing about that room too, though, that if those younger guys do get better, that's a pretty young room. Other
Yeah,
than
it is.
DeMario, there's
Yeah,
a
it
lot
is.
of young, talented dudes there.
Yeah, Werner's what 25.
Yeah,
I think
Gay
Gay's
is also
26
or turning 26.
Yeah, Jackson's probably 24, 25.
Yeah.
Hudson's only like 25, 26. Orgy's only like 23. So.
Right. I mean, that's a really young, talented group.
Sewell's like 25 already, I think. He was
Yeah,
older.
but still, that's still a young
Yeah.
guy. Assuming the injury recovery goes good.
yeah,
But-
yeah.
It's nice to see that there's some young.
Talent in the pipeline.
Yeah, in some of wide receiver, linebacker especially seem there. Having DeMario be the one vet or long term vet. I mean, Pete's a vet at this point, but that's encouraging. Assuming they continue to improve.
I'll say this. I feel good looking at the defense, going forward, if they can keep Chase Young. The only position that worries me is safety, and we'll get to that one in a few minutes. But
The good thing they don't have, once Cam's contract's up, they don't have a whole lot of money committed to defensive line. Granderson's contract
true,
is
yeah.
undervalued, probably slightly. You don't have to pay
Turner or Foskey.
Yeah.
Turner or Foskey. Defensive tackle, you got what? You got
Brzee for another 3.
3 after this
Yeah,
year
after.
with the 5th-year option, which is not cheap, but still cheaper.
Shepard's older, so he'll
He'll
won't
be
get another
gone,
contract.
but Saunders is still young and won't command a ton of money. So you'll have the money to keep Young if he does turn that corner this year.
That's true.
I could see the $100 million contract going to him as you win
Yeah.
Cam off of that heavy contract.
Depending on how he plays, Young gets into the, at least for the front office, into that Granderson territory from last year, where if he comes out the gate just shining,
I just
know,
don't think he'll take that.
He's not taking the Granderson
No,
contract.
but I mean, it's like the Granderson situation on steroids because, like,
I'm just saying. I think
you're
he's
gonna
going
have
to
to
wait the year.
decide.
he waits it out. There's no
Yeah.
way he signs early. He knows
Someone like that is going to have suitors
Yeah.
everywhere,
and he's going to
probably.
know it. Like if he plays well,
He's
Now, we
going
can-
on the tour.
We can we franchise him? We can,
Yeah,
right?
we can franchise
So
him.
we control him. So
Yeah.
it would behoove him to stay
Yeah.
and sign the long term and not get franchised. If he kills it, he's getting franchised, and we're going to pay him a ton of money, most likely, even as we're restructuring,
Yeah.
just because of his age.
We haven't-
and we
I don't think-
reassess.
Worst case, franchise him and trade him if
Right.
you have to. Yeah.
we haven't franchised anybody since Breeze, right? Didn't we franchise Breeze before he signed his last extension?
No,
we were going
franchised,
to. We were
Not his
considering
last extension.
one of them.
Was that the first big contract we did that for him?
Who did
I
we?
don't remember.
Who's the last person we franchised? I can't even remember.
We franchised somebody
Marcus
recently.
Williams? Didn't
Yes,
we franchise
Marcus
Marcus Williams?
Okay, yeah.
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 All right. Well,
Cornerback. Let's go. Let's
Going to
go
go cornerback next,
Yeah.
or D line since we just did end.
We already did defensive end and tackle.
Wait, we did do tackle, didn't we? Losing it.
There you are.
Looking at too many things on my computer. Cornerback. Okay, I'm going with.
Okay, so hold on. So the top 4 is locked
Set in stone.
It's set in stone.
There's no way out of the
So
top
the
four.
question becomes, how many are you keeping, and who are the last 1 or 2 spots?
The top 4 being Adebo, Lattimore, Alante, Kool-Aid.
Yes.
I mean, that's all set in stone.
set in
There's no
stone.
chance.
Right.
anyway.
I'm just making sure we have the same there.
The only way that changes is if a Lattimore trade materializes in the next week or so.
So I think the other 2 they keep.
You think so? You're saying 6?
Yeah.
I can see 6, but I don't know where to take it away from.
Well, I have them keeping Rico Payton.
You're treading. You're hanging around 54 total if you're keeping 6. So you need to tally this.
He would
up.
have to have 4 safeties.
keeping track
if he
of it.
does
Yeah, you would have to get 4 safeties. That's what it is. So
Or is Ugo listed as a safety or corner? Safety.
he goes
right?
either way.
Yeah.
He's
So
a slot guy /
I've got Ugo as the 6th. We'll call it.
Okay.
Wow. Okay.
Or actually, Ugo. I got Ugo.
Well, look,
Ugo's as a safety.
look.
So
This is going hand in hand. So
Yeah.
let's just do it as secondary because if you're going 6 there, you have to go 4 safety. So who you cutting to keep him?
I'm cutting
Keep him out of Amadi.
Roderick Teamer,
Yeah.
Lawrence Johnson,
Yeah.
Bradford, Shamar John Charles.
Just tell us who you're keeping. I think John Charles has a chance. It would make it over Ugo.
Yeah, I mean, it's
I
one
was
of those that go
between-
either way. I think
where was Ugo drafted?
they like Ugo.
What's that?
What round was he drafted?
He's been on multiple teams. John Charles. He was 49ers, Packers.
No, Amadi.
He was Seattle, so he was like a fourth or a
sixth.
fifth maybe from
I
out of
just
Oregon.
Okay.
Let's see. I've got them keeping. Let's start with safety because then we can. For me anyway, I've got Tyron. I got them keeping Abram, Will Harris.
I got those.
They're going to
two.
keep Howden.
You have to keep Howden.
You gotta
It's
keep
same
Howden.
thing.
And
Same
and
Okay,
then,
there's
and then they're
four.
going to keep JT Gray.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So there's 5 safeties.
So that's what I've got there.
So I've got 5 safeties.
So you
I've got
don't have
5
a
corners.
spot for 6, Corey.
You don't have a spot. So
You don't get to tell me if I have a spot. Damn it.
He's going to cut somebody mid podcast.
Sorry.
I know we called you in earlier,
Hey,
but we've just changed
Can
our
we get Amadi back in the room? Can we get Amadi back in the room, please?
I don't think Amadi makes it. He hasn't done anything.
I don't either.
He hasn't looked
Yeah,
good when
I
he's played
can't.
either.
I can't
so.
keep hit 6 corners.
It's-
So yeah.
McKinstry took basically put
sorry,
him off the roster.
Yeah, he's
Sorry, Amadi.
And you have to keep Patrick, in my opinion. Just
Oh wait,
from-
hold on. I've got.
to me the person that pushes Amadi off the roster is Harris. That's the person because he can play corner and safety.
I've got JT Gray as a specialist. He's a
Well,
safety.
He's a safety. You have to
But-
play with the safeties.
Let me see.
To me, you cannot keep Harris and Amadi because they're the same player. They both play corner. They both play safety. So it's either one of those two makes it, and it's got to be Harris.
So if I'm going with 5 corners, I've got Adebo, Lattimore, Kool-Aid, Taylor, and then Rico.
I have Rico. That's my 5.
And if I'm going with
I do think John Charles
safeties, I've got
is on the.
Abram, Matthew, Harris, Howden, and Gray.
I like the way he played, too.
I got room for 6, bro.
Kicker and punter?
Mm-hmm.
You got a long snapper?
Damn it, Max. All right, there's a 53. Long snapper. I'm going with Zach Wood.
I thought you went without. Your roster set.
Yeah, exactly.
They could put Taysom at long snapper. I'm sure he could do it.
No, he's got to be the up man in case we fake it.
Nah.
Okay, so who are you chopping?
Out of my corners?
Yeah.
'cause you have one extra.
Amadi.
I don't think Amadi has a chance of making it. We
I
need
think
to
he
free
got a
up that
chance, but-
number 0 too. Let somebody with some swag wear that number. That's
Yeah.
a cool number.
Yeah, so Amadi's the odd man out for me.
Yeah. So I'll just recap mine. I've got Lattimore, Debo, Kool-Aid, Alante, and Rico Payton. Safeties: Matthew, Abram, Howden, Harris, Gray.
Well, damn, we got the same ones now.
Yeah.
Well, now we do after you try to keep an extra one.
So what's
Try to slip it in.
what was really? There's only one difference. Corey kept the 4 running backs, but that's also assuming Kendry's healthy.
Yeah.
And And where did Max and I differ with you on that?
Offensive line.
I said Hurd.
I had
Lemieux
Lemieux.
versus.
I got
well,
Lemieux
that's
going.
again. That's if Saldiveri is not healthy.
Right. Because I've got Kendre and Saldiveri going on the short-term
Did we keep an
IR.
extra receiver?
No, we 5.
We did 5.
Yeah, we had the same 5 receivers.
So where's did we have the same one? The extra player at a position? Because he had an extra running back. He used an extra roster spot on the 4th running back.
He cut Foskey.
Yeah,
you cut Foskey. That's what it is. Okay,
Yeah,
so
that's what it is.
that's the things we're watching. What happens at running back? I think your big take is cutting Foskey. That would be.
I just think he's done. He hasn't improved.
He is not.
That's the biggest thing. It's
I'm not disagreeing with your idea of Foskey.
But you're right, he is a second-round pick.
I think he's
so
on the roster.
It's tough to just cut.
I think he's on the roster.
I think
he gets traded.
I think we're all in agreement of how bad he's been.
Yes.
I just think he gets that extra year being a second-round pick because it's very rare that you cut a second-round pick in the second year.
Right. Agreed.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Well, hold on. Now we still got to talk kicker and punter. This could get interesting.
Well, if you asked me 2 weeks ago, I'd have said, no, look, Smith's great and everything, but they're going to go with Groupie. I got to see what happens in this game before I would. I think they're still going to lean towards Groupie. One of the things about Smith is that since he's on this exchange international player
He's
deal,
still subject to waivers, though.
Really?
Apparently, yeah.
Okay. I thought they could just keep him and he doesn't count against the roster.
He doesn't count against the practice squad. So,
but
he can basically is an extra practice squad spot if he makes it to the practice
But
squad.
you're saying like he's subject.
He will make it to the.
He is subject to waivers. I don't know. He drilled a 65-yarder the other day with like 5 yards to spare.
Yeah, that thing. I screenshotted where the ball went through.
Dude, it's
the
like
uprights. It would have been good from 70.
Yeah, it would have.
And that's not an exaggeration. Like we say that a lot about kicks. Like, oh, that would have been good from. No, like this one actually, if the net wasn't there, it would have landed in the seats, which are easily 8 yards behind.
Well, who are you going with?
I'm going with. I hate doing it, but I'm going to go with the same two dudes.
Same two?
Yeah, Groupie, Headley. I don't like it, but I just don't. Smith looks good. I just don't know how they go with starting a guy who just started kicking in American football a year ago to actually be your kicker right away.
I mean, Dallas did it, and it worked out pretty good.
Was that guy in the same situation?
He was a soccer player.
He was a soccer
professional
player. He had
soccer
never
player.
kicked He
was literally-
1 year or one or 2 years.
Yeah, he was literally watching like a Sunday night football game with his wife, and he looked over and he was like, "I can do that."
He was
And then
a
2 years
first round
later-
pick in the MLS, but
He kicked
couldn't.
the 66-yarder this preseason in a game.
Was that him? I
Yeah.
thought it was somebody different.
Aubrey?
Aubrey.
The guy you're talking about?
That's
Yeah.
him.
Okay.
I'd say that's the one position I think maybe that doesn't count because I've always said, being a soccer fan too, if any of those guys and the rugby guys ever commit to coming to do it,
They
can pick
their
that
leg
up. It's
strength
not
is-
a problem.
yeah.
Yeah. It's just, so I could see him taking that job 100%. With that said, I think they do stay with Groupie. But I wouldn't say they wouldn't do it just because he's only been kicking a year.
Yeah, I'm going with the same route I did last year, where I'm going to try to manifest an entirely new.
How'd that work out
kicker
last year
room.
for us?
Yeah, it didn't.
How'd that, yeah.
Well, it
Maybe that's
happened.
why I'm
Well,
cautious.
actually, but you got Headley.
It happened.
Wait, it can be worse?
Yeah. Well, I'm going to go ahead and say.
Well, I went with the same dudes last year. I went with Gilligan and.
Did you? I did, but I
Lutz.
think I did the same as. No, you did go Gilligan?
I went Gilligan and
I
Lutz.
thought we
you
all
did.
went Headley, and then Max and I went Groupie, and you said Lutz. But
I definitely went with Lutz.
I'm going 2 years in a row. Whole new kicker room. I think after there's video of this dude kicking a 65-yard field goal with room to spare. He nailed the game-winning field goal in the first preseason game. He's not passing weight. Some team needs a kicker, and they're going to go, "We're bringing that guy in."
Yep.
Because when you can
might
drill,
be right. You
when
might
you
be
drill
right
a
on that.
65-yard field goal,
That's
sick, man. And people are going to look, like to Nick's point, they're going to look at the Cowboys kicker and say, "Look, this guy easily made the transition and was one of the best kickers in the league." So
one of the things all these special teams coaches look for too is how high they get how quickly the ball
right.
goes up
how,
in the air.
Yeah.
how it gets
And
where it passes the line.
I watched-
what's the trajectory when
Again,
it passes the line?
Groupie's trajectory is
It's very
like,
low. Yes.
very low.
Smith's
so.
is he keeps
Lutz's
that.
was also low. You
Maybe
remember that
you
year
know
he got
more
like
about
6
this.
blocked or whatever it was.
Nick, since you still play soccer with the boys
Try.
and you follow soccer, but it looks to me like Smith's like the follow through on his kicks, like his leg looks like it stays noticeably lower after impact, which I don't know if that's like a Gaelic football technique thing or just the way he kicked, but it looks like it makes the ball go higher.
His runway is shorter too, right?
Yeah, his is short.
He doesn't have the like Groupie's got that longer.
Like you just used to like when you see still shots of kickers in the NFL, like the legs like on the follow throughs like way up, and they're like holding their arm like that, but it's like it's almost like a low golf shot when he when the club stays low in the follow through. It's like his leg doesn't get above his knee after he hits it.
I mean, Justin Tucker's is the most beautiful.
Oh yeah,
kick ever, and that finish is way high. So I think it's probably just.
But I'm saying because it's different.
Yeah. It definitely looks different.
Yeah, kind of confirmation on that. But I rewatched that Tulane kick, the kick they did at the 65-yarder, and
there's 5 yards.
5 yards to spare, but also it was way up in the air. I mean, like the trajectory was not a line drive that you see a lot of experienced NFL kickers, like they almost have to kick a line drive to kick that. This thing was beautiful. I mean, it was.
I'm going to say this.
It's a toss-up, I think.
We could do a whole podcast episode on that one kick.
Yeah, we're recording this the day before the final preseason game.
Yeah.
It might decide it.
Dude, I hope to hell inside the Superdome, because that was outdoors at Tulane. I hope to hell they let this dude kick one of these long-ass
right before halftime, like a 70-yarder?
Yeah, let him kick it in the Superdome and see what happens. But I'm going with Hayball. Just he's also an older punter. I think he's Australian as well, just like Headley. He's like 26, 27, 28, something. He's older.
He's got less tattoos, though, right?
He's not as cool looking. He's intimidating as Headley. But I think he's got a much stronger leg. So I don't know. We'll see.
have liked watching his punts in the preseason better than Headley's. I'll tell you that much.
Man, Headley's driving me crazy.
And as much as they wanted to talk about how it was successful because we allowed less return yards, the net yards was not better.
No, because especially if you can talk about net and you can talk about his average net, over the course of a few games. You know what kills net? When you land a ball between the 10 and the goal line and you can't get it to stay there and it turns into a touchback.
Because it's rolling forward every time.
Yeah. So then the preseason, I think it was last game or the Cardinals, one of them, bounced at the 5 and went straight into the end zone. The ball, it ended up being a net of 23 yards.
Right. Give me the old Morstead style of punting the ball to the ceiling and dropping it down. Just give me that every time.
I'm done personally being cute with that punt technique that they try to get Headley to do.
I'm with you on that.
My problem is I don't know that they're ready to.
Yeah, I mean to
be done with it.
They backed it up. This is the way.
Look, I'm with you, Nick, on this one because give me that old school.
Yeah, I'm
boom the shit out of it and to get like the last game against the 49ers. So the punter, Presley Harvin.
Oh God, he was
remember from Georgia Tech.
Yeah.
And the Steelers drafted him like 2 years ago with like a 4th or a 5th round pick. He's got a cannon. Dude, every punt against us in the 49ers game had backspin on it and landed inside the 10.
Yeah. It was like the most. I mean, it is when your defense goes 3 and out, it's great and amazing no matter what the field position is. But if there is anything that can deflate you having gone 3 and out, is when the other team's punter does that shit.
Dude, it was every punt was beautiful. Every punt had backspin. Everything landed inside the 10 and died.
Yeah.
I mean, perfect.
We, praised the 95-yard drive, but again, it was a 95-yard drive because of that punter.
Yeah.
Right.
If it was Headley punting for the 49ers.
You're not going to win a lot of games having to do that 3 times a game.
No.
It's just not.
If it was Headley punting for the 49ers, it would have been a 70-yard drive. Mm-hmm. But, it is what it is. But, yeah, I hope they go with Hayball, but I think they go with Headley.
Okay.
It's a punter, so I don't really,
I'm going to go 1 and 1. I'm going to say they stick with Groupie and they switch on punter. That's what I'm going to say.
Okay.
That's probably the realistic outcome. I'm just trying to – I want to see Smith because it's fun to watch someone who's never done this before and has the legs.
If he makes it through, they'll put him on the practice squad probably too, just to keep pressure on Groupie.
Absolutely. So. I don't – when you hit that and it's on tape, I don't know if it's –
Yeah.
If he makes it to the
because you hear about some of the stuff at practice in your life. It's not on film. You're like, did he really hit it? Like,
That's bullshit.
Did they rush?
Well, it didn't look like that yard line. It looked like he was a little closer to that. The angle, you can't see the yard markers all the way.
You know, the dude's rolling into work after that Tulane practice, like, dude, I saw that Charlie Smythe guy hit like a 67,000
yarder.
Oh, fuck, dude, he built the shit out of that, brah.
So, do we
Anyway.
have any closing thoughts on cut down day?
I mean, like you said at the beginning, I think this year's a little more straightforward. I feel like last year there were some guys that we cut that like kind of hurt to cut. Like, damn, I didn't want to see that guy walk, but if we had to let him walk, like we don't have a I'm like blanking on his name, but the linebacker Jalen
Smith.
Forward. Jalen Smith. Yeah,
like,
yeah.
we don't have a Jalen Smith this year.
Right.
You know, like that was all a big hubbub.
And
about
honestly,
it.
he's washed anyway. He didn't do anything.
Yeah, but we made a big deal about him. You know, like there's not the same guy we're making a big deal about that could get cut.
Yeah, but
shouldn't
that's
get
what we
cut.
do as a fan base. We overinflate.
But I'm saying
He was a big name who everyone knew.
Yeah.
He's
was
an
gonna
example
play
of why this year's more straightforward. We don't have that this year.
Yeah.
Like Olave is the prime example. We overinflate everyone's ability on the team, and we think no one will make it through waivers. And the reality is, all of these people that we cut will make it through waivers.
Yeah.
And we'll have a chance to bring them back
Yeah.
to the practice squad.
Yeah. So we'll see
All
what
right.
happens. One more
We'll watch
preseason
tomorrow
game to go.
and see who makes it.
Yeah,
That's right.
and then next episode should be the Monster season preview.
Season preview, where I'm gonna have my not hot takes, or hopefully steaming hot takes.
Hopefully, man. I'm still.
I don't even know what I'm gonna do. I don't know what I'm gonna do. I haven't even. I'm trying not. I'm doing the opposite of last year. I'm not preparing. Kind
Good, because preparing didn't do anything for you.
of. You got me in third place.
I need some kind of Caden Ellis hot take.
I'll try to summon it up. Maybe
There
I'll
you
talk.
go.
Maybe I'll talk to the Brits. What's up, Dan? I know you're still listening. They usually give me some good motivation to make some hot takes.
There you go. They'll push you in the right direction. So with that, we'll go ahead and wrap up this episode. We'll see you guys next time. Who dat?
Who dat?
What a comeback!